How much of your life is dictated by a single unspoken question? What will they think? That question can choose our career, edit our words, and silence our dreams. We live inside an invisible cage built from the anticipated judgments of others. We tell ourselves it's about being polite or responsible, but often it's just fear. What if the path to real freedom wasn't found in being liked by everyone? What if it was found in finally gathering the courage to be disliked? Learning this one principle was, for me, one of the most terrifying and ultimately liberating realizations of my life. It's a key that can unlock that cage. Join me for a conversation that could give you permission to finally live your life for yourself. I remember being in a university lecture years ago. The professor asked a provocative question, and a thought immediately sparked in my mind. It was an unusual idea, a different angle, and for a fleeting moment I felt the electric thrill of a unique insight. My hands started to rise. And then, the scan. I quickly looked around the room. I saw the other students, their serious faces, the ones who always gave the right answers. And the inner monologue began. What if my idea is stupid? What if they think I'm trying too hard? What if the professor shuts it down? It's safer to just stay quiet. My hand went down. The moment passed. It was a tiny moment, insignificant really, but my life has been filled with 1,000 of those tiny moments, moments where the fear of what they might think acted as a silent veto on my own authenticity. Maybe yours has been too. This fear is one of the most universal human experiences. We are social creatures, hardwired for connection. For our ancestors, being cast out of the tribe was a literal death sentence. So this need for approval isn't a character flaw, it's a deep, primal survival instinct. But in our modern world, this instinct, left unchecked, builds a prison. A comfortable prison, perhaps, with walls papered in praise and acceptance, but a prison nonetheless. It keeps us from taking creative risks, from speaking our truth, from making unconventional choices that might lead to our deepest fulfillment. We end up living a version of our life that is a performance for an audience rather than an expression of our soul. So, how do we break free? There's a powerful concept from Adlerian psychology, beautifully articulated in the book, The Courage to be Disliked. It's the idea of the separation of tasks. The principle is this: you must learn to distinguish between your tasks and the tasks of other people. Let me explain. Your task is to live your life as honestly and authentically as you can. It's your task to choose your values, to pursue your passions, to speak your truth, to do the work you feel called to do. This is your domain. It is the only thing you can truly control. What other people think about your life, your choices, or your work is their task. How your parents feel about your career choice is their task. Whether your friends approve of your partner is their task. Whether strangers on the internet like your creative work is their task. We spend so much of our energy trying to manage other people's tasks. We try to control their opinions of us. We contort ourselves. We edit ourselves. We shrink ourselves, hoping to produce a favorable reaction in them. But this is impossible. You can never truly control what goes on inside someone else's mind. Trying to do so is the definition of a futile, exhausting life. Imagine a young musician. Her task is to write the music that burns inside her. That is her work, her responsibility. When she releases her music, some people will love it. That is their task, to experience joy and connection. Some people will hate it. That is their task, to feel disappointment or dislike. Some critics will praise it, others will pan it. That is their task. Her parents might worry it's not a stable career. That is their task. If this musician spends her time trying to manage all those other tasks, writing songs she thinks will be popular, toning down her unique style to avoid criticism, choosing a safer sound to please her parents, she betrays the only task that was ever truly hers. She abandons her art. Think of a decision you're facing right now. How much of your mental energy is being spent on your side of the equation, and how much is being spent trying to predict or manage everyone else's reaction? This brings us to the core, radical message of the book. Freedom is being disliked by other people. This doesn't mean you should go out of your way to be rude or provocative. It's not about becoming a person who doesn't care about others. It's about understanding that if you are living a life that is truly your own, a life guided by your own compass, it is inevitable that some people will not approve. They will be looking at your map and judging it by the landmarks on their own. Being disliked in this context is not a failure, it is a signpost. It is evidence that you are no longer living your life according to someone else's expectations. It is the price of admission for freedom. Whose approval are you still chasing, even if a part of you knows it's holding you back? A parent? A partner? A community? Putting this into practice is terrifying at first. It feels like you're walking on a tightrope without a safety net. When you stop performing for approval, you will feel the discomfort of no longer being able to control how others see you. But then something else happens. You start to feel a different kind of safety, an internal safety. The safety of knowing that your sense of self is no longer dependent on the shifting winds of external opinion. You begin to build your home on the bedrock of your own values, not on the unstable ground of other people's praise. You start to realize that trying to please everyone is not only impossible, it's a form of disrespect to yourself. The goal is not to be an island, it is to be a sovereign nation, to engage with others, to love others, to connect deeply, but to do so from a place of inner wholeness, not from a place of neediness. It's to stop asking, "What will they think?" and to start asking, "What do I believe? What is my task right now?" That day in the lecture hall, my task was to share my idea. The task of my classmates and professor was to react to it. By confusing their task with my own, I gave up my freedom in that moment. I will not make that mistake again if I can help it, and neither should you. Your life is your task. Claim it. The burden of what other people think is too heavy a price to pay for a life that isn't truly yours. This week, I invite you to find one small, low-stakes opportunity to practice the separation of tasks. Maybe it's sharing your honest opinion about a movie with a friend. Maybe it's wearing an outfit you love but were nervous about. Maybe it's spending 15 minutes on a creative project for you without thinking about who will see it. In that moment, focus only on your task, the authentic act itself, and gently, consciously, Let go of the outcome. Let their reaction be their task. Notice the space that opens up inside you. That space is freedom. Thank you for joining me on the freedom equation. Protect your peace.